welcome back from our very quick, I hope you all scarfed your food. Enjoy it a little bit. Sorry, we were going to cut lunch completely. I was like, we don't need to feed them. Let's just give them more information. But Andy and Genesis made me feed you, so.
You're welcome.
Everybody say thanks, Andy. I was lying about that anyways. But, so I'm really excited for this next segment. We wanted to do something a little bit different. I recognize I had never been a 1099 before. I've never been in network marketing before. I've always been a W-2 employee. So when we started with It Works and found out that we were 1099s, things were a little different. There's a lot of different things that you have to do for taxes and bookkeeping. So I wanted to bring in one of my friends. I recently met her. We're in a business networking group together. Everyone, this is Haley Posner. Can you give it up for Haley? Haley's taking the time out of her day, and she's missing her little boys' hockey tournament right now to be here with us. So yes, we're going to make Haley's information available for you also. So if you would like to hire her to do your bookkeeping, she's like, yeah, all of you. So Haley, let me get you a mic. Actually, do we have another mic? Okay. So Haley's a bookkeeper. That's what we've got so far. You're 1099s. So for those of you who didn't know, you're an independent contractor. I hear it a lot, especially right around now. When do we get our W-2s? I'm like, you don't, because we're not W-2s, we're 1099s. So there's a lot of write-offs, a lot of things that you guys might not know about. We're going to give you a couple of little pointers. So Haley, how did you get involved in bookkeeping?
I actually started school to be an accountant and went through accounting classes. I loved it in high school. It was always easy for me to keep track of things and keep on top of when things were doing and what was coming up. So I thought, why not go into accounting? I was kind of put in a position where I was to be groomed to take over somebody else's accounting business. And I decided from that point on, I kind of wanted to work for myself and not for anybody else.
Yeah, we like that.
You guys do. The flexible schedule was a huge thing for me, and I started bookkeeping and networking, and that's how I got to where I am now.
We can't hear you.
Okay, sorry.
So what would you say would be some of the most common mistakes that 1099s make?
The first mistake would be, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. The first mistake is, how many of you knew that you need to have a separate bank account? That your expenses cannot come out of your personal account?
Oh, God.
Okay.
A couple knew that.
That's like,
Oh, we're screwed.
That's huge. When you're in an audit situation, if the IRS came in and let's say you bought gift bags and you're promoting your product, you're giving them away, how can you tell them that that wasn't for personal use and not your child's birthday party or something else that you were doing? How can you directly correlate that to that was for It Works if it came out of your personal account? So that's huge, to keep everything separate. As far as paying yourself, you can transfer money at any time when you are a 1099 employee. That does not matter. There's different tax brackets. The higher, the more income you earn, and that's when you would want to speak to your accountant more and get more advice from them on what to do with payroll.
Babe, could you hit the next slide, please? Haley, put together a little. So, open a separate business checking account, one of the things to start. And I know a lot of us do too. We also have the It Works pay card. So if you're using that, that's a great way to keep your finances separate. Your pay is directly loaded onto that card. It's really nice. It's got the It Works logo. If you haven't done it yet, go ahead and get signed up for it at myitworkspay.com. Can you hit the next slide there? So, avoiding audits. I don't like hearing these words. I don't like, it's a nasty word. I don't even want to tell you guys about it. We're not trying to make you shake in your boots or anything like that, but our point was, my point for bringing Haley here was to just help you guys avoid some of the headaches that I started to have to deal with and Josh had to deal with our second year in business. Things change, you start making money pretty quickly, and there are a couple of things that you need to keep your eye out for. So what do you mean about keep an audit trail?
An audit trail is just keeping all of your receipts. First, you start with your separate bank account. All of your business expenses should be going through there. Yes, there's going to be times where you may have to use your personal account for business. That could be recorded differently. Keep those receipts separately. If the IRS would come in at any time to do an audit, they want paper statements. Everything now is go greens, paperless. A lot of your accounts, your bank accounts can go back a year, sometimes 6 months, sometimes 3 years. It costs a lot to go any further back than that. You have to actually pay your bank to go back for you, and it's thousands of dollars depending on how far back the IRS wants to go. So keeping everything put somewhere in some kind of filing system with all of your statements from your bank, highlight everything. If you're using your personal account, just to get everything in one place so you won't have to search all over.
And one of the things that I like to do, just in case that day were to ever come, I write on the back of every one of my receipts if it was for an event, if I was traveling for that event, if I'm sitting with a distributor speaking to them, if I'm at a wrap party or had to buy anything like that. All of that stuff, just write little notes to yourself, so that way if you were to ever get audited, you could sit down and say, yes, I was here with so-and-so. And I think also maybe keeping a really detailed calendar is helpful from what I've heard too.
Yes, yeah. I keep my mileage written down day to day on a calendar. That's another thing with self-employed individuals. You either get to write off mileage for your vehicle or depreciation. Your accountant will work more with you on that, on which is better. It depends on the newer your vehicle, the make, the model. Every different vehicle has a depreciation schedule that's different. There's different things you could take when you take your mileage. It's limited when you just take your mileage. When you're taking depreciation, you get your oil changes, your car washes, any maintenance you do on your vehicle, and insurance payments as well. But then you get the depreciation on your actual vehicle. Most accountants will run that both ways for you, so you kind of get to see where you're at. But I do know that once you take depreciation, you have to take that every year until the depreciation of your vehicle is depleted.
So for all you blues, that just means hire somebody, okay? That's what that means, because she's talking and my eyes are going, oh, and I see Josh geeking out because he loves it. And I know that counting your mileage is better than counting gas, right? You get more per mile than per gallon.
The IRS mileage is split up semi-annually. You get 52 cents, some odd cents, the first 6 months, and then it's 56 cents the second half. It really depends on how much you're driving. It's not always more. If it's a percentage of business.
So like let's say Team Minnesota, they drove 12 hours to be here. Go girls. Do you think it'd be better for them to write off the mileage, or?
More than likely, yes,
Okay.
because you're driving a far to get here in the snow.
So, okay, let's talk about, what do we got there? Financial software.
The only reason I would suggest using a software system, unless you are some kind of Excel master and know how to do all the reports on there, then I would say use Excel. Otherwise, I would say get a software program. They have QuickBooks, there's Quicken, there's a lot of different programs out there to use. Peachtree, I think, is becoming more obsolete since QuickBooks is so popular. Just to keep everything on there, it's easier for your accountant at the end of the year to look at your reports, and they can easily see what you've done through the year, where your expenses are at, where your income's at, and can help you further.
What do you think are some of the common write-offs for 1099s that our newbies might not know about?
Your cell phone. Your cell phone is an 85% of your bill can be written off per year.
Your square footage of your office?
If you use a home office, you get square footage for your office. Utilities at home, it's all a percentage that's taken. The IRS sets up the percentage on what you can take. So you'll get your utilities, your internet, your cable.
Your tickets for this.
Your tickets for this.
The lunch that you ate. When we go to Bar Louie for the after party, 50% of your booze is a write-off. Woo, woo! Yeah, so don't be afraid. Buy some drinks.
Right. Your hotel, your travel, your airplane tickets.
Anything branded, so anything logo-wise that you buy with the brand on it is a complete write-off.
Right. That's a write-off. Let's see. Meals and entertainment, if you're taking your guests out somewhere, you only get half of that. So when she said half of alcohol, that's even different than half of just your meals. But if you're traveling, keep it separate, because travel is 100%. Because you're not where you're at. So you're not at home, you're somewhere else to do business.
Can you hit the next slide, babe? No, leave it to the professionals. Yes, that's my favorite part.
Leave it to the professionals. A lot of people like to use TurboTax. And I'm sure a lot of you may use TurboTax still. I would say do not do that. That is not going to give you your small business deduction. It's not saying that everyone's small. We all have different scales, but as being a business owner, it's a lot different. Laws are constantly changing. Rules and regulations the IRS is putting out is constantly changing. You definitely want to find a small business accountant to do your taxes.
So to wrap things up, why would they want to hire a bookkeeper like yourself?
Less time it would take you and stress it would take you to sit down and figure out, well, how do I do this? Where do I put this? How do I enter this? Can I use this for a business expense? There's a lot of different aspects and details that go into just everyday bookkeeping.
One of the pluses too is that hiring you is also a write-off.
Correct. It is.
So are you going to make more money out there putting wraps on people or filing your receipts? That's why we hire Haley. Haley, do you have a website?
I do. It's www.inbalancetoledo.com.
If you're local, or even if you're not local, are you able to work out of state?
Yep, I do the same thing as most large companies. When you see that www.123rescue, I have the same program, so I can log in wherever you're at to help you along the way.
Awesome. So why don't, I know we've got some business cards too, but why don't you give everybody your phone number real quick, so if there's anybody who wants to contact you, you can go to Imbalance Bookkeeping Toledo,
Imbalancetoledo.com. And then my email is Haley, and it's Hayley, at imbalancetoledo.com. And my work line is 419-318-9108.
She's definitely a lot of fun, and for a green personality, I think she's got a lot more blue in her than she thinks too. So thank you so much for taking time out to be here today, Haley. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good luck, everybody.
Come to Bar Louie. Buy your drink. I can write it up. Okay, I am so excited for the second half of the day. We've got to keep things moving quick, and just a little footnote for those of you who weren't here earlier, we still do have 50-50 tickets going on. You can come up here and get them from Rachel. Last chance to enter the wrap reward, or wrap raffle, is going to be here in the next couple of minutes. And also, please make sure that you take all of your garbage with you when you leave. We will get smacked with a hefty cleaning fee if not, and there is a wedding in here tonight. They're going to start up at 5, start setting up, so we have to book it out of here and to Bar Louie. So Bar Louie's in the same plaza, if you guys are coming. Babe, can you hit the next slide? I am super excited to welcome, oh yeah, that's one of my favorite quotes from Pam Souter. Know that you know that you know. Pam Souter. So I'm really excited to welcome up to the stage. You guys have seen her a couple of times up here already before, but she's getting ready to spank all of you and show you what discipline really means. We've got one of the most amazing mommies, my super mom, Miss Jennifer Zay. Look at those kids,
Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Zay. I've been in the company in a couple days, so it will be 2 years. It's my birthday present. This company, I'm a little nervous. This company has done so much for us. When I first started, it could not have been it was almost comical what a bad time it was to think that I could possibly start a business. I had just had the one on the right, little Rylan, just had our third baby, working full-time, going to school full-time, husband always working, and a totally separate shift, so we didn't see each other, and I couldn't pee by myself, so I didn't know how I was going to possibly be able to run a business. I joined just because I wanted enough for a car payment. I didn't even want $500 a month. So many people start because they just want $500. I wanted $350. That's it, not a penny more. But then, like most people in the medical profession, we have that one code. You know, that one code that you will always remember. And I had that. I was working, and this mom, she was my age. She coded and left 3 kids that she doesn't go home to anymore. And that was the biggest slap in my face, because here I had 3 kids at home, and I'm out there working for somebody else. And some mom just left 3 kids without a mother. I had already done the hardest part. All of you have already done the hardest part. And that's signing up. Signing up is the hardest part. That took a leap of faith. That took trust in somebody else in a company that you didn't know. I had already done the hardest part, and I wasn't running my business at all. So that kind of really jump-started things. My why got really big. I wanted to stay home with those 3 little faces. My husband is not supportive at all, but Josh, I gotta share this with you because I just got this, and so that's I'm kind of rattled. Josh knows how unsupportive my husband is, and I just got a text saying, "I hope it's going well, Grab Start." And that, that's huge. That's huge. I'm nervous. Now I'm crying. This company, who's parents? Who's the mom and dads? It's amazing, right? Fantastic, so much fun.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's really freaking hard, right? Nothing is yours anymore. Your food's not even yours. You share. Everything is somebody else's. When I started this business, and my team, God, I love you guys. With the kids at home, and they're busy. They're very, very busy. My team does not get a single box from me that I'm not telling a kid to pull his pants up or don't. What? That was not
The flute in his pants?
To tell my son not to put his penis on a flute when I was on the phone. Very true story. So, but this business is for parents because you can do it all. So, you have to own it. Your mom, your dad, it's a struggle. We have our own separate hardships. You know, my team, they will never get a quiet one-on-one coaching call. I love the ones that say, "Oh, is this a bad time?" Like, this will not be a better time. No, the other day I was on a call and I had my phone shoved in my pocket because I was taking Bryson to the bathroom, and Rylan was screaming about whatever a 2-year-old screams about. But that's my life. I stopped apologizing when the kids are, out of control. Sorry for the backsliding. Because I'm not sorry. That is my life. You just have to own it. For all the moms and dads out here, the sooner you just accept that it is what it is, you'll be amazing. Just keep running. It's hard being a parent, but one thing that we do have that some of the other people don't, our why is really freaking big. Our why is huge. Our why is not for a car payment, the way I thought my why is. It wasn't for a car payment. You gotta peel back the layers. Mom and dads, our why is enormous. Our why is the reason that we start our business, but guess what happens? The why is also the reason that you guys give your upline when things aren't going well, when you're a little busy. And your why of starting the business with your kids quickly becomes your excuse. I will never, ever, I'm bound to 700 people right now, I will never, ever, ever give up. I will never give up. I don't care if it takes me a year to get to triple, because I told my kids that I do this for them. I get up at 4 a.m. every single day when I'm trying to promote for my kids. My daughter has a dream board. Do you guys know of a 7-year-old with a dream board? My kid's got a dream board. Awesome. Whatever you're teaching them, do it. I mean, it's huge. I used to tell my kids why I'm going to work, but they didn't really get it because they didn't see it. I was leaving the house. My kids know how to box. They know how to leave my team members kick-ass messages and tell you to run. That's what my kids have learned how to do because of It Works. They would not get that with me working at the hospital. They just won't. So I guess that's all I have to say is just never, ever, ever let your why become your excuse. You go home, look your kids in the eye and tell them that you are doing this because of them. You're doing this for them. And if you can look your kid and tell them that you're doing this for them, then you never, ever should be able to tell your kid that you're stopping for them. So just run, get out there, decide what's worth it. I loved last conference when Cammie Dempsey said, you can do anything, the whole wide world, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And sometimes you're gonna miss the good to have the great. Missing a hockey practice right now, I'm gonna miss a lot of hockey games, a lot of whatever the rest of the kids wanna do. I'm gonna miss it because I'm doing this, I'm doing something that I love, and what I love has brought the mom back to my 3 kids, soon to be 4 kids. This is the only child that I don't have to worry about going back to work or maternity leave. That's huge. No mom wants to go have a baby and leave. I get to stay home. So that's all I've got for you guys is just figure out what's worth it. Doesn't matter if you're a mom, dad, or not, figure out what your why is and run for your why. Lose your excuse, take quitting off the table. Because once quitting's off the table, no excuse is worth the breath that it took to say, because you're not gonna quit, so what? So go home, tell your kids that you're doing this for them, and get to work after those goals. You get it. It's hard not having a supportive spouse, but my God, when they finally come around, mine's coming to Bar Louie tonight, and that was the biggest thing in the entire world to me. I almost died. Yay! Don't tell him what we talked about. For real though. All right, I have some of the most amazing moms that I know up here on the stage with me. I'm gonna start. We start with you, Jody. Now, you guys got to hear a little bit about Jody's story. 6 kids. And I don't think Jody knows this, but I had a massive girl crush on her, or mommy crush. Because I'm like, this woman has 6 kids. And she does it well. So I was very excited that you were going to be on the mommy panel tonight. We all know that finding that balance, that business and family balance, is hard. It's something that takes time. You got to figure out how to master it. Love to think your brain on how to master it. But I know that there was something about that balance an experience that you had that I'd love for you to share.
Yeah, I'm sure all of you mommies in the crowd have had that guilt trip, going to a party, leaving the kids behind. You're super busy right now, so you're not seeing them very much. I had an experience about 1.5 years into my business, and we have always included our kids. They've always helped with the dream boards and everything, so we've always included them in everything. But about 1.5 years in, my team was growing like crazy, and they're amazing, and they were recruiting like crazy. We were getting ready for St. Louis boot camp. And Trent called me one night and said, you need to come home. The kids are a mess, and they want to talk to you. So I walked in the house, and all the girls were sitting in the living room. And my girls are ages 20, 21 down to 8. And they were all sitting in the living room and they were all crying, and I was like, what's going on? And they looked at me and they said, we just want our mom back. This is one of the hardest things that I've ever had to go through. I was so excited, we were growing and we were getting ready to go on vacation. And they said, we want our mom back and we don't want you to go to St. Louis this weekend. And I was like, oh my goodness, we're moms, we cry. And we're yellow, so we cry even more. I said, you guys, okay, so we're not gonna make a rash decision. We're gonna pray about it like we handle all of our family issues. So we all sat down and we prayed that God would give us a sign whether we were supposed to continue on or not. And I explained to them that I was bringing 10 other mommies to boot camp, and that they were depending on me as their leader to bring them. So we prayed about it, and we went to boot camp, and we just prayed for a sign. And that night, the first night, Caroline Close sat on stage, terrified, as a presidential diamond, and she looked right out at Trent and I, and we were holding hands, and she said, when God blesses you with something this big, you don't turn your back and you don't walk away. So that was our first aha moment, our first sign. The next day, a Saturday, and Cammie Dempsey got up on stage, and she said, you guys bear with me, this is not on the itinerary, but she said, I feel compelled to share about how to balance your life with It Works. And she talked about how when it's family time, you turn off your phone, you shut down your computer, and you go have family time. She talked about how you pick out your kids' events, because my kids are involved in everything. You pick out some events, you cross that day off. That's not an It Works day. Granted, you can work it when you're at the event, sharing the business, but don't book parties that day. And she talked about balancing family life, and it was just our aha moment that we were exactly where we were supposed to be. We just needed to rearrange things a little bit. And so we have found that balance. We block out the kids' events, and Lisa told me, she said, Jody, just go all in for 2 years, and I promise you that you will never ever have to miss anything again except by choice. But we forgot to explain that to the kids. We talk about dreams and goals, but we never talked about the importance of why we were doing what we were doing. And so 2.5 years into my business, I was able to quit my job, and now they get it. They get it, but finding that balance is so very important because you don't want to lose that unity of the family. And you guys, it's not a sacrifice, it's an investment for their future. But if they're old enough to know, you need to explain that to them, because finding that family balance is so very, very important to keep them, in key. And this week again, we had the same talk. We're in busy season and Mommy's gone a lot. This weekend, I'm gone the entire weekend. But I asked my 8-year-old last night, I said, what happens at the end of busy season? And she said, we get to fly on our family vacation. And so you just got to keep them in tune with everything that's going on. So remember to find that balance and keep the family first and foremost. But remember that you aren't making a sacrifice, but an investment.
I love that. I love it. It's very, very easy to confuse, sacrifice and investment, but it's true. You are investing in your family and your family's future. I love that. Thank you. Michelle, so you've got 2 young boys, 18 months and 6? Yes. Your boys are amazing. They really are involved in the business with you. Talk about finding that balance. You incorporate your kids in a lot of what you do. I would like to talk to you about blitzing, because I know that blitzing with your kids is something that you have mastered. I also hear a lot from different people that they just don't have time to blitz because they're with their kids. Where I find that's the best time for me to blitz, because I'm in and out. I'm trying to prevent someone from licking the grocery cart and losing the other one. So I'm trying to, in and out. I do my best blitzing with my kids. How do you incorporate it and make it fun?
Well, my 6-year-old likes to blitz for me. So when he's in school, it's, he can't do that. But so we kind of go on weekends. If we don't have anything going on or anything planned, then we'll just go walk around somewhere, and I'll talk to people as much as I can. But then sometimes Charlie's like, okay, I'll get the next one. Take the blitz card, and he'll go, and he picks just, people I would never choose. Like the biker man who comes up to me and goes, your kid said I needed to talk to you. And I'm like, you probably do. So, or he blitzed Santa Claus. He handed Santa Claus the blitz card and said, my mom thinks you need this. And Santa was like, I don't need that. And Charlie was like, oh, well, he's 6, he's honest. And so he's bold. And then I have my 18-month-old, and that can be a challenge, obviously. My favorite thing is to pick a buddy. I have one person in particular that we go blitzing together, and there's always just a herd of children with us. And if one of us finds a person who, we want to talk to, or if we choose, the other person can keep the kids reined in. So her kid's freaking out, and I just, we pull them to the other side of the store, so maybe it's not quite as associated with her, and she can handle it. But sometimes, too, it's an opening, because she's had a lot of people come to her and say,
my kids did that same thing. You know, this is what we did that worked. And she was like, oh my gosh, well, I just take a lot of confianza, you know, and it's an opening. It's an opening to a conversation. And any way that you can start a conversation and form that relationship, I mean, it's going to help your business.
Love it, love it, love it. Amanda, I'll go to you next. We talked about losing excuses, and you certainly do. Like, you've lost all excuses. When you joined, you had found yourself a single mom well, it's now your husband, you too. A single mom, 2 kids. You had to make it work, and you had to make it work big. You actually had a very hefty number that you needed your very first month. How did you lose those excuses and just run? I mean, you came in running, you reached your goal while balancing, you know, you're a single mom and their responsibilities. How did you do that?
So I initially came into business because Jay thought it was a good idea. I thought it was not. Again, I thought it was totally not going to work, and so when I tried it and it blew me away, I still was only convinced that I was only sharing the wrap. Like, forget everything else, I'm a GNC junkie through and through. And so that was that. But right after I decided to go along with Jay's great idea, we split up and he moved out. The rent was $1,200 a month, and holy moly, this is hard. I never tell my story, I make him tell it for this reason. So, I had just lost my salon. I was a salon owner, and I lost my salon to road construction. I was the owner of the business, but not of the building, so there was no payout for me. I lost everything. I started working for a friend's salon, but because of the transition, I lost a lot of clients as well, and so I did not know how I was going to keep the roof over our heads. And luckily, he left right after the first of the month, so the rent was paid for that month, but I had about 30 days to figure something out, or we were going to be staying in the car. So once I finally got over myself, because that was a big deal, just getting off the couch, I said, okay, you know, I went to a new church, and the church service there told me this was going to be what changed my life, this company. Why, what, I don't know, but okay, I'm going to go with it. And I shared my before and afters on Facebook, and my business just took off. And at the time, okay, so I was working for my friend's salon from about 10 in the morning to 9 every night. I'd leave in the afternoon to pick my kids up off the bus from school, either take them back to the salon with me or drop them off at home. And they were young, they really shouldn't have been there by themselves, but I didn't have family there, I really didn't know what to do. And I also was still competing in the figure division of bodybuilding.